you just look at those beautiful fancy red tiger shrimp? Wow, wow. I think I have finally got these guys figured out. And like I said from the very beginning, when I finally got a system that worked, when I finally got something that I know is probably going to work with these guys, and that's really the secret. Well, when I got it all figured out, I was going to get a rack going dedicated to just Caridina. So, like I was saying, you got to figure out a way that works for you. You collect all the information you can from friends, YouTube, anyone willing to help you out, give you some information. The hard part is sorting through that information on what you need to go by, especially with these guys, because these guys are not Neos, Caridina shrimp. They're a little particular. It took me a little bit of time to get a system going down that worked, and now that I do, it's time to get a rack going. I am excited. So this is the 10-gallon. I got them all going in finally. And I've been collecting bits and bobs and everything over the last few months. I really, really wanted to get this project started in like February. But, I'm not the only one that lives in my house here. And so the wife wanted to do some rearranging of the house. The good thing is now I have the entire back part of the house for shrimp stuff. And that is where the new rack is going to be. So I've been collecting. I got all the UGF filters I'm going to need. I've been collecting those since this winter. And this is what I just spent the last 2 days building. Did a little bit different this time. I have the possibility, I have enough. I bought a really nice sheet of oak plyboard. So I don't know if I want to get too adventurous and try to make it look nice and put in a lid here and all that. But I tell you what, I feel like I'm getting better at this building stuff. I didn't make a video on building the rack because, frankly, no one really gives an F. I've done videos about that before and no one really cared to watch. So the biggest thing, the biggest improvement is getting a real tool. The DeWalt driver I've been using $20, $30 Amazon, Chinese Amazon crap, and it's not very good. The first couple boards I put a screw in, I'm so used to every single screw being a struggle. And with this guy here, just zoop, it went right through these. I used deck screws. They go right through this pine like a knife through hot butter. Split the first board I ever screwed into, because I was not expecting that. Never had a rule tool before. So that was nice. So this is all good. Down here it's going to be the water storage top off system. We'll be having an air system on this, a proper air pump and air system. Auto top off, auto water change. Well, not auto water change. I had to take the water out. But all the tanks will have float valves, just like the other tank is. But the goal here is for the fancy red tigers. I have probably about 100 of them that bred out in that 10-gallon tank. And so with Caridina, I'm going to have a 20-gallon grow out here, a 20-gallon cold tank here, and a 20-gallon of some new ones I'm going to get. Now, I'm not going to get too crazy. I'm getting all kinds of different shrimp. Now, I like to get a few of nice ones and then really, really work on working those. And I plan on getting some Galaxy Tigers to go with my red fancy tigers. So then the cold tank will just be mixed Galaxy and fancy tigers. So that'll be cool. And then down here will be the breeder tins. So I think I'm going to have a breeder here, a breeder tank here, breeder tank here, and probably another one or two over here. I think I know I can fit at least 4. I'm setting everything up to have 7 tanks, 4 10s and 3 20s. And then, oh, it's embarrassing. This mess of buckets. When you're running a shrimp business, a shrimp breeding business out of your house. So I'm hoping when I get this pushed back against the wall and get everything built up over here, we will be good. So, honestly, I'm not sure if getting into these is that great of a business move as far as business goes. But as far as the shrimp hobbyist goes, woo woo woo, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what happens with these guys. So, I've got help from friends, help from the internet, and figured out a system that works. So we have the UGF box that's covered in moss. Then we have a little sponge filter right there. And there's our float valve. So this is the system. Water's mineralized to 130 with salty shrimp, GH+. And I only feed once or twice a week. And I did a water change after this setup was about 3 or 4 months old. And I hadn't done a water change since. And everything is good. Once the moss started filling in, you can tell the nutrients in the water. The moss is not looking quite as good, but this tank will be up and running for a year in September, August, late August or September, I believe. And so it's due. And I finally told my wife, I was like, all right, we got to finish getting everything moved around so I can finally get these guys the rack I've been planning on. And then you may be asking, what are you going to do with this tank? Well, I think with Caridina, you're always going to need some open tanks because you got to reset tanks. And it's not like Neos where you just take out all the sand, rinse it off real quick. And so this would be my shuttling shrimp around when a tank needs reset or whatever. This will be the backup. Look at them. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Can't wait. Can't wait. They hadn't been breeding much lately because I figured the tank was about at its end. But I did start feeding twice a week instead of once a week here lately. And I've seen there's a couple, at least a couple of them that are buried. All right. There's a nice buried girl. All right, everyone. So this is just part 1 of the new rack. I got the rack built. I'm telling you what's all coming. So I'm going to try to do a video every week just on setting up this rack until it's done. And we got shrimp in it. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.